The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Magic Mike Show for another week. We got a winner sitting there in Mike Somich. He got the ticket for you last week, so I'll let you talk about it. Man, that was a good hit. Your top pick in the last race is what made that thing work.
Yeah, that's what matters. $54 ticket after scratches, paid I think it was like $700 somewhere in there. Maybe it was 600, somewhere right around there. But yeah, it was very chalky. I know a couple people hit it for $5. There was a group of people at the racetrack that hit it for 15. I got a video from one of the listeners there, and it was the 10. That was the difference in it. It was pretty chalky up to that point, but the 10 course to the top pick paid $21 in the last, and that made it a worthwhile pick 5 sequence. So you just got to find that one. It would have been nice if we could have gotten like the second Baffert home in the race we went too deep or something like that. That thing would have ballooned like crazy. But the nice part is when you get those big turf fields to close it out, if you can find a price, it usually makes it's a difficult race to get everybody to spread in. So nice to get one home. It's been I got it like probably one of the hottest stretches I've had here in the last 4 weeks or so. $6,200 at the Belmont weekend at Saratoga on a pick 5. I think we cashed over 8,000 at Saratoga that weekend. I think it was 9,000 actually. Hit the early pick 5 today at Gulfstream on a $32 ticket that paid $600. So hopefully we can just keep it rolling, man. It's been a pretty ridiculous 4 weeks here.
Yeah, you've been on an incredible run, and I take full credit for it. As soon as Magic left, you stepped up your game because you knew you had to. You couldn't just mess around and be better than the person you were going to be with. So you stepped it up, and now you're better. But everybody's cashing a lot more. So I think I deserve all the credit. Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, I will. You know what? We're going to agree a lot this show. So I disagree. I don't think it's anything to do with you. This is one of the more ridiculous. We put our tickets in before the show. We don't talk at all about the races, who we like, anything like that. I think this might be the most agreement we've ever had in a pick 5 sequence. It's pretty insane how close we are. So, hey, it's either going to go well or go poorly here for both of us in this one because it's a lot of agreement in some tough races. I was expecting we would have some differences here, but we are very simpatico here in this late pick 5 at Churchill.
Yeah, I thought it would honestly be kind of a longer show because I thought, yeah, there'd be a lot of disagreement. We pretty much exactly the same. Now we structure it a little different. Our wagering plan's a little different, but the handicapping is gonna be, yep. I get it. Okay, next race. I mean, I feel like that's what it's gonna be a lot of the time today, which is fine. And like I said, yeah, we don't try to go against each other to start arguments. Like we just kind of naturally do this, and usually we have enough differences where we start arguments, but not today. I don't think that's gonna happen much. So should be fun. We'll get to it. One thing I will want to mention: we talked about Magic. He's going back to work this weekend. Did you know this? Magic will be back on FanDuel. His leave officially ends this weekend. Poor Magic. He's back to work.
Yeah, Magic back at it now. I bet he's pretty excited, if we're just being honest. So we'll see. I have not gotten the text, hey, my first show will be. I have not heard from him yet around when he'll be actually back on this show. So we'll see when the hiatus ends on the Magic Mike side of things. But yes, he'll be back on Saturday, I believe it is, on FanDuel.
Yeah. He says he's not excited, but yeah, I think he's lying. I think he's very excited. Yeah. And it never fails. Like every show on the comments we get, is Magic done? Did Magic get fired at FanDuel? All this stuff is like, no, people. Like they had a child, so it's okay. Yeah. It's going to be fine. So yeah, he's going to be back. So that'll be fun. All right. Well, let's do it, Samich. Let's get to this. Let's see if we can hit. Not we. Let's see if you can hit 2 in a row. All right, let's get to it. Let's go to Churchill Downs. We're covering races 7 through 11 here, the late pick 5 on Saturday, June 21st at Churchill Downs. We'll start on the turf. We're going to mile 16th here on the turf. Optional claimer $80K for this one. All right, Samich, we both went fairly deep. I ended up going a little bit deeper, but let's kick it off with you. Who did you go with to get us going?
Yeah, this is one of those races that it felt like it's a little more wide open than some of the later races. I really should. They're all pretty wide open. There's no real like heavy favorite in here. We talked about before the show. It's hard to find a single. You did. I didn't. I'm kicking it off here with number 3, Echo Lane. Your favorite. Not don't need a long handicap on this one. Sias takes the mount for Rohan Crichton. Has ridden this horse the last 6 times. Has 2 wins, 1 second, 2/3, and a 4th in those 6 efforts. Likes the Churchill Downs turf course. 2 races, 1 first, 1 second. Likes the distance, 4 for 5 at the distance. Also has the exact style I'm looking for in this race. There's a couple speed horses I don't like. I think they're going to end up backing up. Echo Lane should be sitting right behind those early leaders. I think it's a very, very good trip under Luis Saez in this spot. The numbers all fit. Not dominant, so it is one where I'm looking to see if I can take a couple shots here. But to me, the number 3, Echo Lane, the top pick.
It definitely is a race where you look at it and go, yeah, he makes a lot of sense, right? It's like, yeah, Echo Lane, you know, number 3 horse, you're scrolling down the page or looking at the page and you're like, yeah, no, that one makes sense. I'm going to circle that one. And then you just keep going and it's like, oh no, this one does. And this one does. And there's a lot of logical ones, but yeah, we landed on the top pick, same top pick, I should say. I'm with Echo Lane as well. I used him on the ticket. This was just kind of I'm just going to try to use, I went 6 deep. I just want to use as many of these as possible, because I do think it's kind of a grab bag. The number 7, Miranda Rights, is who I used second on the ticket. This horse is very similar to Echo Lane when you look at the speed figures. When you kind of just look at the consistency, this horse is usually around there with a chance, especially at this level, I should say. And, you know, it's just one, it's like, yeah, he's going to be there. When they turn for home, this horse is going to be around. It'll be interesting to see who can outkick who, but this is one that's that makes sense. So yeah, the number 7, Miranda Rights, that was the second horse on the ticket for me after Echo Lane.
Yeah, I ended up going 4 deep here. That was the third on for me. Makes sense. You mentioned it, probably going to be right there. Don't love the post sitting in the 7, and a little worried about that last race. Was in a 4-horse race, ran 3rd in that spot. But they also kind of crawled, and I don't think they're going to crawl. So I do think you're going to get a little better pace set up here in this race. Doesn't love winning. That would be the one knock on Miranda Rights if I'm going to take a shot at this horse. But third off the layoff, you'd expect you're going to get a little bit of an improvement, and a little bit of improvement makes Miranda Rights a very logical player in this race. Second pick for me was the number 4, AK Sarben Derby. This is second off a layoff for a horse that closed out the season last year at Churchill Downs in the Commonwealth. Ran a good 3rd behind Laganos, a horse that both of us, I guess, will say like one of those that's kind of came around, ran very well at Churchill Downs. I absolutely loves this track. AK Sarben Derby here has not dominated, but if you go back and you look at the 4 Churchill races, because he run 4 times on the turf, 1 is off the layoff. The other 2 were the first 2 times in his career trying turf and was 60+1 in both those races. That 4th one was that effort in the Commonwealth, which to me is the one that you can really have the most faith in because of when it came. Getting 5-1 on this horse, so I like the price there. And yeah, I think the 4 has a big shot in this spot, especially second off the layoff. We can improve just a little bit.
Well, you just exposed yourself. Oh boy, AK Sarben Derby. It's X-Sarben Derby. What does that spell? If you spell it backwards, what does that spell? What does it spell? Do you have any idea?
No clue.
Nebraska. That used to be a name of a track in Nebraska. X-Sarben. Yeah.
Derby. So, all right. There you go.
Now, to in your defense, that hasn't been around for a while. And if you didn't grow up around people in this area, you would have no clue what that was. But yes,
I have never heard of that racetrack before.
Well, I think it's probably the 90s that it closed. I bet. It was very popular for those that were there at the time. But yeah. And again, like if I grew up where you did, I wouldn't have a clue either. But and if I didn't hang out with people that trained and ran horses there, maybe my trainer, as one of those examples, I may have not have heard that either. So I thought that was funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
well, good news. Good news. The 3rd horse on my ticket is the number 4, AK Sarben. Just kidding. X-Sarben Derby. And listen, I think I think you said it. This horse is solid. The race 2 back in the Commonwealth, you mentioned it as well. That was a very sharp race, and now we're getting second off the layoff after that race. I think we had got a shot to see that from this horse, and if we do, I think we see this horse in the winner's circle. And again, this race just felt like, hey, here's 4 or 5, 6 horses, in my opinion. They all look pretty similar. Play them and get through. And we kind of did a similar thing. You didn't go quite as deep. So, yeah, third horse on the ticket for me was the 4. Okay, who was your 4th horse, and is it going to be the same again?
The 9, Factor Analysis.
Okay.
No, yes, no. This was a Chad Brown horse that was supposed to be really good and wasn't. And we saw Chad Brown try this horse at Tampa and then Backwaduck at Saratoga. Couldn't get through the maiden. Finally breaks it at Tampa again when they go back there. Comes back, wins an allowance, then switches barns to the Eddie Keneally barn. And then ran the career best race last time out. Now, I don't fully believe the buyer because the horse ran 7th. But then you look at the time. 134-1. They came home at 146-1. That is very fast for a mile and an eighth. And this horse actually closed in the final couple furlongs as well. So closing into a very fast race that went 12s to the finish in the final 2 furlongs, I thought was really impressive. This is one of those horses that was always supposed to be good and just kind of never was. And now we see the return to the racetrack in the 4-year-old season. Wait a second here. Maybe Factor Analysis figured something out when he won those 2 races, and now this is a good horse. I'll take a little bit of a shot at 6-1 on a good setup here as well. Should have pace to chase. I think Factor Analysis has a big shot.
4th horse on the ticket for me, Factor Analysis. This is ridiculous. Look, the last race I thought was pretty solid. I agree with what you're saying. I think you're in a lot better spots here. I think this spot makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Factor Analysis will be closing hard in this spot. And the race 2 back, very good as well. So yep, Factor Analysis, 4th horse on the ticket for me. I was surprised. Like I was kind of looking at buyers at buyer speed figures, and this horse got a 90 for that last one. But was running competitively anyway before that, and then that was like, well, I think that's the top buyer out of the first like 3, or I think Echo Lane may have 91, but anyway, right up there with a chance for sure. All right, I used 2 extra horses. I want you to try to talk me out of these. Okay, Can you do that?
Yeah.
I used the number 6 Mount Rundle on the ticket. I thought the last race was a good enough race. And I do think there's a few others in the past performances, maybe 4 or 5 back, were good enough races to win. Talk me out of Mount Rundle. I think this horse makes sense at 15-1.
I won't talk you out of it because it's 15-1. Okay. I think there are some logical reasons to use it, right? Yeah. The last race at Churchill, obviously very good, jumping up now into a little bit tougher competition. But this horse was improving before the break in 23. And then comes back in 24, gets 1 race in, okay, whatever, comes back in 25, and has gotten better with every start. So it starts to feel like you're getting back to that progression we saw back in 23, where this horse keeps improving and improving, would need to be better, and is facing better. But you can make a case as to why that will happen here with Mount Rundle as well. So at 15-1, I wouldn't talk you off it. I'm probably going to try and talk you off. I'm guessing you're using the 10 as the other one. That one I will try and talk you off.
All right, go ahead. Talk me off of. The last horse on the ticket was the 10 Army Officer.
I don't think this horse necessarily wants the distance. 1-for-1 at Churchill, or I ran once at Churchill going this distance, ended up running second. Since then, it's just gone a flat mile, pretty much everything, and seems to struggle to get the mile at times. Obviously did run okay at the mile of 16th distance, but now you're posted out wide in the 10 hole. Your Brad Cox horse is probably going to get overbet. Chaminad's never ridden this horse. There's just enough of a reason for me to just be like, look, for a horse that does like to hit the board, but doesn't love to win, who's also jumping up in class. I mean, going from the Pimlico turf to the Churchill turf is a much different beast. I'm just willing to pass here on a horse I think it's overbet.
Yeah, the more I looked at it too, it's like Pratt is not going to ride here. He's on the 8, and I don't like the 8 at all.
I like the 8 a little.
Do you?
The 8's the horse that can go gate to wire if someone does.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to. That's the thing. Like I just don't. I know that the horse can hit the lead, but it's like, man, you got to go back a long ways till this horse actually did go gate to wire. I thought the race 2 back, it is what it is. Kentucky Downs. I'm not worried about it. The race last time out was pretty bad. Now I do know second off the layoff here, maybe you get improvement, but I don't know. I couldn't get there with the 8. So I don't know. Should I throw the 8 on instead of the 10? That was kind of the debate I was having.
I'd much rather have the 8 than the 10. I like the 8 has a clear path to victory. If the 8 clears the 1 and gets brave, he wins. The 10 has to, in my mind, improve at a distance that isn't ideal for him and also work out a trip from the 10 post. Like I can tell you the exact trip the 8 wins with. I'm not sure the trip the 10 wins with. Is it what, 3 wide on the first turn, or maybe somehow finds the rail but is in like 7th or 8th? Like I just don't see the path for the 10 to be able to get to the winner's circle compared to the path for the 8, which is go outbreak the 1, get to the rail, and see if you can last.
You know, my problem with the 8 too is I don't know that this horse really wants to go this far either. You know, I worry about that with this horse as well. But also if you try to cut this horse back, I don't think you're going to get the lead. So maybe they're thinking get on the lead with the stretch out and get a bigger lead so this horse could hold it. I really went back and forth between the 8 and the 10. All right, I'm gonna add
here's
the
other thing with the 8.
Okay.
He hasn't gotten a comfortable lead pretty much in his entire career.
Yeah.
The last race they went 23, 46, and 2, and he had someone right there with him in 110 and 1. Like they're not going 110 and 1 in this race. The race before that at Kentucky Downs, he goes 22 and 4, 44 and 4. They're not going that, right?
No.
Didn't make the lead in the Indiana race, where probably would have held had he made the lead. And you see that he held better at a mile there, considering they went 48 to the half. Even the Penn race before it, they go 46 and 1 to the half, and he held well at a mile. Like I can't. The race he went gate to wire Kentucky Downs, they went 21 42, 44. Yep. Like he hasn't gotten to go 24 48 on the lead. And that makes him more dangerous in this spot, because really it's the 1. If the 1 Saint in the City doesn't press him, and if he clears the 1 and then the 1's forced to go outside of him around the first turn, I don't think you get pressed. He has a path to be able to go gate to wire.
All right, he's on the 10's out. So I'm going to go 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's where I'm going on this one. You talked me into it. If this 10 wins, it's your fault though. See, it gives me an out.
Just play. Well, no, you can't. Just play a press ticket through the 10.
No, I'm definitely not doing that.
The 10 ain't winning. The 10 ain't winning. Just, watch this. The 10's going to totally win. But yeah, look, I think the 8's route to victory is much clearer, and you're getting double the price and the better jockey and the better turf trainer.
Okay. Chris says 401k going on the 10 now after this.
Right. I mean, I'm really trying to talk this 10 in the winner's circle for everybody.
All right, let's move on to race number 9. We're on the dirt for this one, 7.5 furlongs. It's going to be a allowance or $50,000 starter allowance. I'll say it right eventually here. All right, we got a field of 7. All right, Samich, where'd you go?
I did not love this race, but I am going to try and get through with 2 deep, and I'm not going to be overly creative in it. I'm going to start out with the 2 Daisy Duke. The last couple at Oakland were big races. I mean, $200,000 optional claimer. And then the last race is the one that's a little worried, but you go back and you watch it. There was a ton of trip trouble here for the 2 Daisy Duke. So willing to kind of forgive that one. It feels like we're going to have a pace materialize in this spot, and that the 2-3 is going to be the horse that's able to sit right behind that. Should get a fairly good trip. We pick up Irad Ortiz. We're leaving off Leparoux. That's a big time upgrade in my mind. So I like the trip. I think that the 2 is going to be able to get from the inside to be able to chase down the early leaders.
Yeah, this is a race. You look at it and you're like, this is not. I'm not trying to disrespect any of the trainers in here, but you look at it and you go, man, I don't know how much I trust this barn. Race in and race out. And with the 2 Daisy Duke, I use the horse as well, but it's like, oh, gosh, Moquette. Sometimes they run really well. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they kind of run a clunker. And so you do worry about that. I did use the number 2 Daisy Duke. I also used the 7. Let's see. How are we going to guess? Anima, maybe?
Anamina?
I don't know.
Anima and
Anonymous is how I said it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go with Anonymous. All right. Anonymous.
But the 7, but it's the same kind of thing. It's McPeak. And again, I mean, there are times his horses just don't run very well. But this is the 7 is my top choice after the, 2 was my second choice. 7 is the top choice. And again, I just look at this and I go, this horse fits here really well. Been running okay against a little bit better horses, but this is kind of the level this horse fits. So, but again, it's not even the trainers as much as like every horse in this race. It's like, I don't fully trust this horse. This horse isn't that good, but kind of fits what we're doing today. So the 2 and the 7, those are the first 2 on for me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a weird race. It's $50,000
Yeah.
allowance, right? Going 7.5 furlongs at Churchill, which is always okay. Churchill 7.5, right? Like, why are not a mile or 7? But whatever, 7.5. Let's do it. That is for 3-year-olds, 3-year-old filly straight, which is always a weird condition in my mind. The 3-year-old class is like, you could see these big fluctuations from them. You kind of have to figure it out. But you also have horses like the 7 Anonima, who is not really done well sprinting, and this is technically a sprint distance, but it's not really a sprint distance. It's more like a mile. So it's weird to kind of handicap this specific race because of the distance and the class and the level and the age. So I wouldn't be shocked if there's someone who like runs a really good race here. Like, I could see the 6 Take Charge Omaha run a really good race, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the pace, and I'm not sure that's what I want. So I on the 5 Take Charge Omaha, I went with a 7 Anonymous as well. The workouts got mentioned here. Anomia.
Anomia.
It means anonymous in French. Okay. Anonymia. Anonyma. Anonyma. I'm going with Anonyma.
7 horse.
Dennis mentioned, the 7 horse. Dennis mentioned as well. This horse is working out awesome right now with both of the works in the morning. 58-4 on June 13th. 59-2 the time before that. 2 very, very good bullets. I don't think sprinting is going to be a huge issue. The cutback here, if I'm looking for horses that are cutting back, I want them to have speed so they're still close to the pace in sprint distances. So 2-7 for me.
All right, I went 2-7-6. I did put the 6 Lolo Le Plume in there. This horse is kind of just the light bulb play a little bit. Kind of been knocking on the door. Finally broke the maiden last time out, and I thought it was a sharp effort last time out. Just looked a little bit better than what we had been seeing out of her. Maybe the light bulb came on. Maybe it's now, how she's kind of figured it out type of thing. Been keeping some decent class in some of those races. I mean, they weren't the easiest races in the world to win. So, look, I like the 6 a little bit here. I also think this horse could come off the pace and really be the one running best down the lane. And so I think the 6 is a horse. I had to use her. I just couldn't leave her off of there because of that last race. Any thoughts on the 6? I know you didn't use her, but
I don't like her. No,
okay.
thanks. No, the problem for me is sprinting with her.
Yeah.
And I realize this isn't sprinting, but like, where's she going to be? I'm just worried she's going to be a little too far back. I considered the 1 Black Ginger for a while.
Yeah.
I'm willing to throw the Prairie Meadows race out. Just a mess of a race. Like, so they'll just chuck that race out. You go the race at Keeneland. That was a very good race. Breaking out of the 12 post, going 7 furlongs. You had a next out winner who ran 3rd. And the price is going to be better than pretty much anybody except the 3 in this race. So the 1 was the horse that almost made the ticket for me.
Well, speaking of that 3, Dennis thinks the 3, he's talking about the Romans horse. That is the 3, Madeline's Promise. He thinks this horse could steal it. What did you ever think of the 3, look at the 3, anything like that?
I mean, I do love speed. But the problem is, like, you've got the 1 win at 6.5 where this horse stole it. That was a maiden 50.
Mm-hmm.
And we quit bad at 7. We quit bad in the Devona Dale. We quit bad at 6.5 against about this level, including a horse that's in here that I'm not using, the 4. I don't see a reason for the quitting the other times.
Yeah.
Except that it's not good. Like, and so I understand why people would want to use the 3, right? And in tournaments, I would be using the 1 or the 3. But in this case, I just don't see the path to the winner's circle with the 3 all that much.
Yeah, it's just a get out in front and pray that, that's how I kind of would look at Madeline's Promise there. But, again, in a field full of trainers that are strange-ish, Dale Romans, Luis Saez, kind of, these are the races, right? That kind of has his name on it. So, I'm with you. It's like, I went back and watched the race 2 back, and I thought, man, there should have ran better than that. Just should have ran better than that, and didn't. I didn't watch the race last time out, but it was it's the same story. And the thing about it that I just couldn't get over with this horse is we're fading early, right? Like, it's not, we held on down the lane in the last couple 100 yards. We faded. It's like, oh no, you knew immediately this horse wasn't going to win. So
this is your classic play on top of the try or do not include in the try horse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the chances of this horse running second are so low? Because either Madeline's Promise gets brave and just goes, or she runs 7th. Like, it's just, there's not a huge gap between it because of how bad she quits out and how early it happens when she does.
Yep, I would totally agree with that. All right, let's go on to the third leg of this thing. Race 9 on the card. It is the best race on the card. The Chicago Stakes, a grade 2 event here, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. It's a field of 11 fillies and mares, a very, very strong race here. It's a grade 2. It feels like a grade 1. You've got grade 1 type horses in this race. Like I said, field 11, Samich, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, you look at your two favorites, Emery coming out of back-to-back grade 1s, including a second-place finish. Vava coming out of, 5 of her last 6 have been grade 1s, and the one that wasn't was a win in the grade 3 Chicago last time. I'm going to go for price. Give me number 4, Bright Work, 10-1 on the board. This is a horse that has been proven at the distance. Again, this is to take out the 2 races where this horse goes a mile and a quarter. Just cross them out. And all of a sudden, this is a very dangerous horse. Would have started the career with 5 straight wins, ran 3rd in the TCA Oaks, then comes back in the winning colors. I thought ran a kind of good 4th, considering she clearly was not fully prepped for that race. Like, you could tell there was still something that working toward with Bright Work. I love this horse from the spinaway win back at Saratoga and beat Ways and Means. I just think there's more for this horse. I think this horse has a big chance of improving second off the layoff. I think the price at 10-1 is right. I think the trip should be very, very good. This is a horse that has tactical speed, but also likes to pass horses late. And so you're not going to be too far back from this pace. The 7 furlongs isn't a distance. Horses won at 7 before. I think it makes a ton of sense right here to go with the 4 at 10-1. So I'll take Bright Work on top.
Well, as you know, because we just did this for VSiN, we just talked about this race. I like your pick of the 4 Bright Work quite a bit. I think I'm going to use the horse as well. Everything you said is accurate. Forget about the races around 2 turns and just focus on the 1-turn races. Yeah, this horse is pretty damn good. And I was with you. I think last time out, it was clearly let's get a race into her and get her ready for the bigger races down the road. And I thought she did just fine. And she's going to run better today. So, yeah, Bright Work on the ticket for me. Not my top pick, though, because top pick is going to be Claret Beret, the 10 horse on top. Look, what I'm trying to look for in this race, I don't love Emery. I'm leaving that horse off. I do like Vava. I'm going to play her, but I'm a little concerned she might just be over the hill. But second off the layoff, I'm going to give her one more chance. What I'm trying to say is I'm looking kind of for the now horse. Claret Beret with Safi could be the now horse. This could be just the horse that is ready to pop, the horse that's ready to kind of run better races than she's been running right now. And it's very clear why I would say that. First race for Safi was last time out, so it's only started once for Safi. 95 buyer, won by 19 3/4 lengths down at Gulfstream Park in a race. She was just way better than everybody else. I'm not really concerned about how many lengths she won by. It's kind of irrelevant. But the time was very good. The buyer speed figure was very good. And you saw an elite jump up, right? I mean, just such a better race than what she had been running. And now you've got a situation where Safi brings this horse into a grade 2 race up at Churchill when he easily has conditions that he could run this horse through at Gulfstream Park where she would look very tough, right? I think he believes he's got a very nice horse here and a horse that's going to get even better off the second time running for him. So I used the 10. That's the horse I put on top. I just kind of feel like forget about all the races on the page and just look at the one race for Joseph. That's a race that can definitely come up here. And if not win, at least give you a great effort to give you a shot at winning. So the 10 was the first horse on the ticket for me.
Yeah. 10 was one of those that it's kind of a head scratcher to me. Like
Sure.
From a structure perspective, if I like the 10, I'd probably single the 10 because if the 10 runs the race that you're talking about, Claret Beret is very tough, right? And then the question is, do we get that effort? Now, there's nothing in the past performances to believe that she can run back to that. But you mentioned it. The difference between Safi and the other trainers is your justification for why she can.
Right.
I would be more bullish on this horse if it wasn't a 2-month break from the last trainer to Safi. If it was 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, where you're in the Safi program for longer, you're getting like that to me means that, he really was able to get his hooks into the horse and improve the horse versus a 2-month bench where it's like, okay, where did this come from exactly? Because 2 months is not a lot of time in horse racing world to be able to improve a horse by 20%. Right. And so that to me is the biggest concern with Claret Beret is that the break between the previous trainer and Safi did not give Safi enough time for me to completely believe that last race was real. And you mentioned it was, not a huge field. It was lower level. Like there's these other reasons why I'm like, okay. But to your point, this was a $375,000 horse. She was supposed to be very, very good. She struggled through conditions. She gets claimed, then goes up, switches to the Saffie barn, and all of a sudden we see the promise that she had portrayed earlier in her career. So to me, it's a horse where if you really believe in the 10, you just single it. And you go, okay, I'm going to separate myself in this race. Because if the 10 wins, and you're right, you got a huge chance of hitting something big with the rest of the races. I decided not to use my Claret Beret because I'm more in the do it again camp, especially against this group, than I am. I'll take 6-1, 20-1. Okay, let's talk about it. But 6-1 against this group, just too many question marks for me. I did use the 5 Vava. I don't feel like we have to talk a ton about the 5 Vava. This is one of the more logical horses in there. And I was going to use the 1 or the 5. I wanted the 5. I never was going to use the 1. So it was always the 5 for me. Vava loves the distance. 5 for 10 in her career. She loves the track. 4 for 5 at Churchill. The last race was over a sloppy racetrack. It was only her second time touching it. The first time she touched it, it was wet fast. It wasn't sloppy. That was a sloppy racetrack that she ran in. I'm willing to say that's an excuse. She didn't fire in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. I get it. Like, so you can say, oh, well, now it's 2 races in a row. We'll see if she's still as good as she was. She loves this track. This is her spot. I think you do get a pretty good effort from her. And then to me, like, she's clearly the horse to use over Emery, who's going to be on the rail here. So I'm going to use the 5 as well. You use the 5. Do you want to add anything in on Bava before we move on?
Nope. Everything you said, I agree with. And to me, that was the decision. I kind of just told myself, you're going to use Emery or you're going to use Vava. And the answer kept being Vava for me. I just think she's a better horse. And I said it a couple hours ago. I am 100% confident if she shows up and runs her best, you could single her. She's going to win, right? But I'm just skeptical. But also, you made a good point in the last show. Look, yeah, she didn't run very well last time out, but this is second race off the break. She's an older horse. It might just take another race to get her going. I can't totally throw her away yet. And so I'm with you on that. So, yeah, I used her as well.
Third horse for me, and the last horse going to be the number 9, My Main Squeeze here. Cut back to 7 furlongs after stretching out in the ruffian, going a mile there. I thought she ran well as the favorite, even ended up running third. Main issue for My Main Squeeze is lost Emery 2 of the last 3 races. I think the pace sets up better for her in this spot for her to be able to come calling late. She's 2 for 2 over the Churchill track. Has hit the board in 7 of all her 7 furlong starts. So we know that she comes with a fair run. Also gets back to Luis Saez after Franco riding her the last 2. Third off a layoff. You'd expect she's going to run well here. So My Main Squeeze, third on the ticket for me. Just a very logical horse that honestly should be the same price as Emery in my mind, and yet you're getting double it.
Yeah, there you go. And I've got My Main Squeeze, the 9 on there as well. I think this race sets up really nice for this horse too. I do really like the way this looks on paper, the way it sets up. 2 for 2 at Churchill Downs as well. You got to like that. Last time this horse was here at Churchill, it was a blowout win. So, we got the same ones again. You went, I just had an extra one. I added the 10 and you just went 4, 5, 9. I went 4, 5, 9, 10. So, once again, like I don't know what else we could really say. We can't debate it too much. I'll throw this comment up real quick. Mark says, hard to swallow 3-1 on a mare that could turn it around or could easily appear ready to be a mother. What do you think about that? I thought about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I wouldn't bet her to win. That's why I don't have her on top. In a pick-X sequence, I'm willing to use her in this spot because I do believe that her best is good enough to win, but I wouldn't be betting a win bet on her, if that makes sense. I do think she should be the favorite over Emery. She's not. So it's one of those spots where, like, yeah, I agree with Mark. Look, the mares especially, they can fall off very fast, very fast. But does Cherie DeVaux put her in here if she thinks that horse is falling? Like, to me, the sloppy track last time out makes a big difference in my mind. A really sloppy track last time out makes a big difference in what to expect from her. It's also second off the layoff. IRAD rides back. Like, all of those signs point to her still being very good. So I'm willing to believe it's more of the turn it around than it is ready to be a mother side of it. Do want to bring up a comment here from Dennis as well. Next race, Pagani looked amazing off the layoff, comes back in a graded stakes. I think that horse is a must include. 8 horse was the 4th horse on my ticket. If I had used 4, I would have used the 8 Pagani here, 12-1 on the morning line. I agree with Dennis. I thought this last race was very good. Now, the last race was over a sloppy track. This horse is perfect over a wet track, so be a little careful there. But the wet and the fast buyers are similar enough that I think that you could make a case that that wasn't the only reason. Has faced graded company twice. Both of those were going longer. I think the cutback helps here, has tactical speed to stay close, but also can close. So Pagali makes sense to me if you're looking for a price option in this race and you don't want to use a horse like the 5 Vava and you don't want to use like the 9 My Main Squeeze. I think the 8 is a logical one that you can put in to try and get a price home.
Yeah, I mentioned this horse on the last show we did too. I like her. I'm not sure she wins. I think she hits the board at a big price and you go, wow, that's going to juice up an exacta or try. I don't know that there's a race on the page. Well, there isn't a race on the page good enough to win, but she should see some improvement. And so I'm with you. And I always like Drury horses as well. So I've got a soft spot for him as well. So I get it. I think that's a good call out there by Dennis. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
Not really. I will be pissed if Solitos wins this race.
Yes.
But I just, that's a horse I can't get right. So take that for what it's worth. I'm against the horse and I can't get it right. So maybe that means this horse will win. 4 for 6 at Churchill, but never won at the distance. I think is better at 6. That was one of the main reasons I left this horse off, but it's Pratt and Asmussen. Like I understand why people would make an argument for the 11.
I do too, because I almost put the horse on the ticket, but I couldn't either. Just feels like more of the grade 3 type, and this, to me, this is a grade 1. I know it's listed as grade 2, but this feels like a grade 1 race for female sprinters, and I'm just not sure she's that type. That's where I'm at with that one. So, but I wouldn't be shocked at all.
No.
All right, let's go to race number 10 here. 2 races to go. Let's go to another optional claimer here, allowance optional claimer on the dirt, going 6.5 furlongs. It's a field of 12 for the 3-year-olds. I think we've got a couple of exciting horses in here, but I want your thoughts. What do you think of this one?
Oh, this is the race that's going to probably knock me out. Like that, because there's we'll talk about the 3 here in a second. And I don't love these type of horses, but I'm going to use this horse here because I do specifically like this horse. And it's, this feels like it's the one. If I get beat, it's going to be here. Give me the 8 Invictus on top. A race 2 back at Keeneland's too good. Beat Campale, who's back in this spot, but a couple of them have beaten Campale in this race. The Sir Barton, okay. Like the horse just couldn't quite get it going that long. Didn't get the lead. I think that was a negative aspect, especially first time trying 2 turns. Now we're cutting back. This horse costs $1.2 million. He's supposed to be very, very good. We know he likes the distance. He gets the post. He's going to have pace to chase. He faced a key race at Saratoga first time out with Chancellor McPatrick winning. I think the 8 makes a ton of sense here at 3-1.
Yeah, I'm just going to think on the 8 last time out there that it was the distance. This horse wants to go short, because he just didn't ever get into the race. Like,
yeah.
And Crudo won, and Crudo's not a bad horse, but we kind of did see that he's not like that good of a horse. He ran in the Belmont, but I don't know what happened. This horse was just never in it. I don't know, but yeah, cutting back, I think this horse makes sense. And the race, like I said, the race 2 back was very good race, and that race will be very tough in the spot. I want to talk about the number 3 David of Athens, though. That's the other horse I've got on my ticket. I went 3-8. All right, this is an interesting horse. Beat Camp Hale and beat Patch Adams in that debut race at Keeneland. Problem is we haven't seen him since. So that was all the way back October 11th of 2024. It was a sharp effort. I went back and watched it. He just legit beat him, right? It's kind of sat 3 or 4 lengths off the pace, kind of just made up that move and then boom, mowed him down. Again, we haven't seen him for a while, but that looked like a really, really sharp horse that had a future. Obviously, Patch Adams has come back to be very good. Camp Hale, not as good, but is a winner. And I don't know. I just feel like David of Athens, if he's ready to rock and he kind of lives up to what we thought he was going to be, he might just be better than this field.
Yeah, I hate using these horses. You'll hear about it when we go to Saratoga. You're going to have some monster debuts, and then they're going to be short prices, and they're going to face winners for the first time, and they're going to suck. And it's just going to happen. It happens every year. It's easier to beat first or maidens than it is to beat winners. Difference is we're getting 5-1, and I don't think this horse is getting bet off the board because of Invictus and because, Curtis mentions, this is a very interesting mixture of horses. We could talk about quite a few in here. Camp Hale included, who's the 11 horse here, who's 7-2, who since that loss has had 5 races to improve and has gotten a little bit better, slightly, just a little bit, because every time the horse just gets a little bit better. Yep. But this was the fact that this horse did what he did off the bench makes me a lot more confident with this layoff coming in here and running out for the first time at 3. The works have all been pretty good, not great, but pretty good. Saez takes up the mount. Saez and Walsh very good together, 28% at Churchill Downs, 26% across the country, both with positive ROIs. Walsh fine off this type of layoff, 14%. The horse had Lasix. That's a 20% angle for Walsh. I'm scared of this horse just running huge. Like you said, like that debut was awesome. Patch Adams, a horse we both love. We think, I think maybe one of the best sprinters in the country right now. And man, like that horse was able to sit close to the pace and pounce and beat 2 very good horses. I like the tactical speed. I like the fact that the 3 can close. I don't think the 6.5 is an issue here. So I'm just going to try and go 3-8 to get through here, but I am scared of a couple others.
Who else are you scared of? You mentioned, I'll answer my own question first. You mentioned the 11. To me, it just kind of feels like if you're using Invictus, I think I'm not that scared of the 11. But is that one that you're scared of?
No, I'm not scared of the 11.
Okay.
And the 11 could get a good trip. I think the 11 has kind of proven that he doesn't like to win. In the last race, he just finally found a bunch he could beat. This is a very different field. Like this is not just a bunch you're going to beat if you're Camp Hale. I think this is one that creates much more trouble for him. So I did not consider the 11. I considered 3 other horses in here. The 6 was the next one up for me, Dapper Moon. This is one of those where, like we talked about, my favorite angle is when you go and you try to get into the Triple Crown, you take a sprint and you stretch them out. If you just isolate Dapper Moon sprint races, runs second on debut at Saratoga, then wins at 7 furlongs. Doesn't try it again until he wins in a state-bred N2L allowance at Fairgrounds. Doesn't try it again until he runs second in a $100,000 N1X. Doesn't try it again until the last race at Churchill, where he ran his first bad race sprinting. But that was first off the bench. Maybe second off the bench is different. You could make a case that Dapper Moon's simply a better sprinter than he is going long, and the extra half furlong benefits him more than some of these other horses at 6. So Dapper Moon was the first one that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the 2. I thought that race last time out was really good from the 2. The only thing is, like, where did that come from? We hadn't really seen that yet, but you know what? That was the first start on a fast 6 furlong dirt track. I've been running mile 16th a mile, did debut at 6.5, but yeah, I don't really hold that against him. So maybe 6 furlongs on fast dirt. This horse is pretty good. The 2 was one I was worried about.
Yeah, 2 would have been another one. Another one of the 3. I think that horse makes sense. If you believe that the stretch out's not going to be an issue, which I do think that extra half furlong may matter for the 6. But yeah, that was the first time since debut this horse went 1 turn on a fast track.
Yeah.
So you can make an argument that's why we saw the improvement. Although Munnings generally like off tracks. So,
yeah, true. Yeah.
It makes it a little harder to make that case in my mind. The other one is that the horse that ran 3rd in that race, You Devil. IRED picks up the mount. I think that's more because Saez switched over to the 3 and chose David of Athens over the 9. One of the reasons I didn't use this horse, but was good first off the bench and very good second off the bench. And now you get 3rd off the bench for the horse that's going to get the lead. Speed can be good at Churchill. So the 9 would be the other one that I'm a little concerned of.
Yeah, good points on that as well. I was with you. I looked at the 9 for a while. And, for me, I think it's one of the hardest things to do in all of racing is when you're playing these kind of tickets is making those decisions. Where am I going short and where am I going long? And I just kept going back to this race and saying there's 2 things that I just feel like I can go short here, even though I do like some other horses. The first thing was a 92 buyer speed figure by Invictus. If he can put that up here, and it's the same type of race, I mean, it's a allowance, but it's the same distance, pretty much same kind of setup. Well, if he can do that, I don't think anybody will beat him. And if he can't, I just think this 3 just might be that horse. He's just really good. So I just kept circling back to those 2, but you're right. I mean, it is a situation if the 2 or if the 9, or in your case, if the 6 wins, you do sit there and go, I liked him, but when you're playing with a budget, you can't use them all. And that's kind of, I just kept coming back. It's like, I think this race and the next race we're getting ready to talk about, they're the ones where I can afford to go a little bit short. But sometimes you're right with your handicapping and wrong with your structure. And hopefully that's not the case with this.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 3 and the 8 have the biggest ceiling. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Their ceiling clearly the highest in this race, right? And if either of them reach that ceiling, they win. Yep. And I think David of Athens could beat Invictus if Invictus runs a 92, but no one else in this field has that ceiling outside of the 3 that we have seen or could really logically say could improve into that ceiling. So that's why to me it's those 2. And then there's other horses where if Invictus and David of Athens don't reach that level, that can win this race. But to me, if both of them have to slip up if they're going to.
Yep, I think that's well said. Well said for sure. All right. Let's get to the last one here. Race 11 on the card. Another $50,000 starter allowance race going 1.16 here on the dirt. A field of 11. I've got a single in this spot, Samich, but you do not. You're going a little deeper. So, all right, tell me who you like.
I'm going to go 3 deep. I have your single as my top pick, so I'll let you talk about the single.
Okay, so my single is going to be the number 1, Tiz Marcus. You just look at the last 2 races this horse has run. It's better. They're better races than anything else in this race in this field has done. Here was the big key for me. Okay, so state bred races down at Oaklawn Park for the Archiebreds, whatever. I know the race 2 back was graded very well, but it's like, okay. Came up to open company, $50,000 claimers, like at Churchill Downs. That's where you kind of look at it and go, okay, this is where this Archibred's going to falter. No, he won by 5 1/4. He improved. He got a better speed figure than he did the time before. And then he was claimed by Norm Cassie. Norm Cassie obviously does a very good job, whether it be Churchill Downs or anywhere. He hits at a high percentage. Now Flavian Pratt gets aboard for this race. And you look at it and you just go, look, if he can run back to the race he did last time out, he will win this race. And is there a reason why he wouldn't? I don't think so. So he was a single for me. The number 1, Tiz Marcus. I'm not going to mention other horses because you've got other horses. So I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why he doesn't is the 9, Bolt at Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Tiz Marcus has to go, right? We agree on that from the 1. You got to show speed. And Bolt at Midnight is aptly named. Right, like the horse went 22:45 going a mile last time out. So you got to think that Bolt at Midnight is not backing down or rating on the 1, which means that Tiz Marcus has to break, rate, spin wide of Bolt at Midnight, and then close around the far turn and hold everybody else off. That's the reason I'm not singling, is because I've never seen him do that. In last race, yes, he did not get the lead, but he was in the 6th post, broke 2 wide, hung out on the outside, was able to go. That's a much easier trip than breaking, letting the horse clear, switching paths, and then closing in the stretch, right? So for me, that's the reason why Tiz Marcus wasn't a single, not because of anything around skill or anything that you said, but actually because of just the issues that I foresee in the trip that he's going to get because the 9 Bolt of Midnight's in here. If the 9 scratches, I could see the 1 as a single.
Tell me if this is a dumb comment or not. When Pratt is aboard, I don't worry about the trip as much unless he's just on a speed horse that has to go. When he's on the horse, I just feel like he'll work it out.
Not a dumb comment.
Okay.
I think it's a little too much of a blanket statement.
Okay.
Right. Like because especially at this level where it's like not elite horses. And so you're kind of like projecting that the horse is going to be able to do something different. And I don't think Pratt can control to the point where the horse doesn't have to do something different. The only way he does is if he goes. And if he goes and he goes too fast, I've got less interest in this horse, right?
Fair. Yep.
So I trust Pratt more than anyone in this race not named Irad Ortiz, and they're both right around the same level. But at the same time, it's still just a tricky spot for the 1 to be able to do it. Second pick for me here, I am going to go with the number 10, the number 8, Strategic Force, who's 10-1. This is a horse that's going to stretch out to the 1.16 for off a mile trip, went 1.125 the race before that. This is a Walsh horse that broke its maiden at Keeneland. They put it into an N1X allowance, and now we're wheeling back here. I thought that last race was actually pretty good, especially for the mile distance at Churchill. Now we're getting back to 2 turns, which I think this horse wants to do. It debuted at 2 turns, and then it debuted for the seasonal debut at 1.125 miles. This horse can run all day. I think you get the pace set up. I think he's one of the main beneficiaries if you have a pace set up, but also will not be just completely out of it either. So the 8 was my second pick here at 10-1.
Needs to improve is what I wrote on this one, but I get that the trip could be good, and I think getting back to the 2 turns would be good for this horse as well. When he ran a mile and 1/8 at Keeneland, definitely a decent race there to get the job done. It was a maiden 50, but that got him eligible for these races. So last time out, I thought ran okay. Ran okay.
It's throughout the layoff for a horse that is logical to improve, and like I said, if the 1 and the 9 go nuts, I think the 8 is one of the main beneficiaries there. Third horse on for me here is the 10 horse Vamos Carlitos, who makes a ton of sense from a class perspective. Was claimed for $40,000 by the Foley Barn. They run him back in a $100,000 N1X at Fairgrounds, runs second to Admiral Dennis, and then jumps up to the Risen Star. And the Risen Star is a mess in my mind. I'm basically chucking it for every horse that was in it because of what Magnitude did in that race and everything we've seen since from that race. Comes back at Churchill, runs over a sloppy track from the rail in what was a very salty optional claiming field, goal-oriented, Hypnus and Tis Secure. Now we get the 10 post, which is, I would almost rather be like the 7 or 8 here versus the 10. But what can you do? But this horse is one that has shown speed and also has a decent kick. I think Morales, second off the layoff here, gets a pretty good trip, again, with the speed and the way it plays out on the 10 Vamos Carlitos. So 1-8-10 for me here.
Yeah, I'm a little more worried about the 10 than the 8 because of what you kind of said. This horse is definitely getting in amongst horses that he's just running against
different class,
much better. So, we were talking about it earlier. It's like sometimes when you drop down that significantly, when you get halfway in the race, let's say, you're just in a totally different spot. It's like, whoa, usually I'm behind 8 horses and now I'm only behind 3. And like they're feeling good about themselves up the backstretch. And that's going to be the case here. I mean, this horse is not going to be sitting 10th or 11th, like in the Risen Star. So yeah, I think he's going to be dangerous in the spot. I am worried about him. You didn't leave, or you didn't play the 9, I'm guessing, because you're like, hey, I'm going to play the 1 or the 9, basically.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a world I would play the 1 or the 9, but like the 9's wins come in claiming. Anytime he faces allowance fields, it hasn't been great. His wins are maiden special 8 and 2 claiming races, right? Mm-hmm. And so I probably wouldn't have played the 9 no matter what.
Okay.
Just because like even when he's like goes slower, he doesn't win.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably wouldn't have. The 4 would have been the horse that, like, if I put one more on, Lured Away, I think makes a ton of sense. Again, with the way that I project the pace to set up, I think Lured Away gets a very good trip here. Knock on Lured Away, only win maiden optional claiming 75,000 at Oaklawn. Has not been able to do much since, and has yet to hit has yet to run first or second against winners. So, that was my main issue with the 4s. I don't think this is a big drop in class for the 4, and I don't think that you have to improve still for him to be able to beat this field.
Yep, I agree. He's like very consistent with how he runs. There's just not a lot of improvement out of him yet, and I don't know when there would be at this point. I mean, he just kind of runs the same race every time, and I think if you dropped him just a little bit, I think he could find a win. But you also may not want to lose him for 20,000 or 25,000. So I get it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. This is probably, look, the 2 races, the 200 and 125,000 K optional N1Xs. Those are tough races. The last race he should have run better.
Yep.
Right. And that to me was the one where it's like, come on, like you gotta be a little bit better than that if you're gonna win. And then we're going the mile 16th at Churchill, and this is a closer, and that's generally not a great setup because you got the short stretch in a mile 16th. So put it all together, and I left the 4 off, but would not be shocked.
Yep, and that's why Tiz Marcus too is also in the race. Hard to run him down, let me tell you. Hopefully, hopefully for my sake as well. All right, any final thoughts before we read off tickets?
No, let's do it. This would be a good one to press. Well, I guess you can't even really press it because we're so similar.
I know. Maybe we could figure that out after you read it. Go ahead. You read yours first, then I'll read mine.
It'd be 4 by 2 by 3 by 2 by 1. That's still expensive. All right. 50-cent ticket for me. 3, 4, 7, 9 with 2, 7 with 4, 5, 9 with 3, 8 with 1, 8, 10 for 50 cents. That'll cost you $72. See if we can go back-to-back weeks, baby.
All right, I'm going to go 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, of course, with 2, 6, 7, with 4, 5, 9, 10, with 3, 8, with the one single dare at the end, $72 for me as well. I feel like I don't want to make something up here. I think since I've done this show, you and I have hit it almost every time. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I know I've hit it once, maybe twice.
I've hit it twice since we started doing it together.
I think I have too. I think I hit it the first week and then maybe the third or fourth week. So
we haven't had a big one yet though.
No.
They've been like $600 to $800. There hasn't been like the 2,300, 3,500, 4,500 one in a while. So we got to get one of those home.
I know.
I don't know if this is the weekend though. This
I don't think so.
Yeah, this one feels more like the 1,000 to 1,200 type range unless you just nail it with some of these prices.
Yes. No. Well, maybe we'll save the big one for when Magic comes back. I don't know. Maybe next week this could be the last one you and I do. I highly doubt that, but we'll see what the leader there, Magic, says. All right. Here, I'm gonna take this off screen since we're not talking about it. Mark brings this up. If Arkansas can choke against LSU, Tismarca can choke against these. So that's Arky bread. It's pretty funny. Did you happen to see that last night?
No, I did not. I know they gave up three runs in the bottom of the ninth to get LSU back in the game. Their best pitcher didn't it would have been set up so they get to throw who they want in the last game as well, where Arkansas probably is the favorite if they're able to get through LSU in that spot, and they give up 3 in the ninth. But I did not see how it happened.
Okay, I'm going to explain this to you. So it's 5-3. Arkansas's ahead. There's one out. It's the bottom of the ninth. Runners at first and second. LSU hits a layup double play ball to the shortstop. I mean, you and I may have been able to turn it. It was just there. As a matter of fact, when the ball came out the bat, I said, this is over, because I've got a lot of family that loves Arkansas. He went to third with it. The shortstop threw it to third. Now he got the out.
Right.
But then they're showing the replay and it's like, oh, it's an easy double play. Like the LSU guy's not even like running hardly because he knows it's over. He goes to third. So now there's 2 outs. Okay.
First and second,
2 outs. LSU hits like a line drive, but it's a high line drive to the left fielder. He takes like an awkward route, misses the ball, bounces off his shoulder, rolls all the way to the wall. And so 2 runs score. And it was a routine. He took a weird break. He got a weird break on the ball. I think he kind of misjudged it, but in essence, it was kind of a routine play. Like if he just kind of stood there, he probably would have caught it. And then the next hitter hits like a little flare that bounces off the second baseman's glove. I mean, it wasn't his fault. He did everything he could. He just couldn't get to it, and they win 6-5. Yeah,
that's a brutal way to end your season, especially when you're ace sitting in the bullpen.
I mean, yeah, it was rough. Comment on the Juice Man Navarro. He's out of prison. Did you see that?
Yeah, but he's in ICE custody now.
Oh, is he really?
So I'm not going to comment on Juice Man Navarro because out of one problem into another. That was reported on Twitter. I don't know if it's official or whatnot, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're not talking about that. I did not know that, Samich. Holy shit!
I mean, that's what was going around Twitter. Yeah,
surely that's not true.
Pollock report. Navarro believed to be in ICE custody after serving prison sentence.
Wow. What a bomb that got. I did not know that. Okay. Well, I wouldn't have asked it. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I believe I think there's a fake Pollock report going around. So, but that one has 15,000 followers. Okay.
Let me get on Pollock Report's website real quick and confirm this. There's nothing on here, but would that really be that wouldn't be like an article, I guess. That's wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
So there's that. So no comment. that's the comment.
Yeah. Well, I Magic told me that he was getting out. He told me yesterday because they're best friends, and I was like, oh, they'll be at Evangeline. He'll have a string at Evangeline here soon, I imagine. But no, not the case. All right. Anything else?
Yeah. No, that's about all I got. Thank you, Florida Panthers. Thank you, Sam Bennett. That was fun. Both of the, especially Panthers in 6 with Sam Bennett winning. Going ahead and winning the Conn Smythe. That was a nice little result for yours truly. So happy to get them home. Do you see all the McDavid stuff today?
I have not. Informed me.
Oh man, there's a press conference, and McDavid's got 1 year left on his contract, and so they were talking about, hey, do you want to stay here? What do you think about the city? What's your favorite thing about Edmonton? And he goes, well, and like pauses and says, and all these things. And he goes, it stays really light a long time here. That was his favorite thing about Edmonton. So then, of course, they start asking questions like, what's the most important part of this to you? He's like, I want to win. I want to win now. I want to make sure we're built to win. I want to make sure all the pieces are in place. It doesn't sound great if you're Edmonton. I'll put it that way. Now, we are the day after a Stanley Cup Finals loss.
Yeah.
When you didn't get a goalie in the offseason, you didn't get a goalie at the deadline. And that clearly was a big problem for this team, right? Skinner let in some very soft goals, right? But he did not sound happy, and like specifically said Bouchard has to resign. Like he was basically playing GM, like get a goalie, get Bouchard, and then we'll talk. But like he's got 1 year left on his deal, and Edmonton's going to be a very odd spot here if he doesn't sign an extension this summer, because then they have to decide, is he going to sign next summer? Like, do we have to win the cup to keep McDavid? And can we trade Connor McDavid? So I that press conference to me was very enlightening.
So two things. I was on with Patrick last night on Mad Dog, and I said, we got to spend 10, 15 minutes on the hockey because I've got some McDavid takes for you, and we got to talk about this. He's like, yeah, great, because I don't want to talk about baseball. So perfect. So anyway, we were talking, and I brought that up. I said, this is the most fascinating offseason / season for Edmonton. And if they fumble this in any way, I believe Connor McDavid will be gone. This was before the press conference that you're talking about, because I said, here's the deal. The kid's 28 years old, so he'll be 29 next year, obviously. He's the best player in the world, but the best player in the world without a Stanley Cup, it matters, but it is a big bruise on your resume. And if he believes this Edmonton team cannot get it done there, he will leave. I truly believe that. And because he wants to win. And you could tell he was devastated last year and he was devastated this year. Those are almost harder to get over than if you lost in the second round, right? It's like, boy, it feels like we're doing everything and we're not there. And I said this, and I'm going to bring up this comment by Mark, because he said, let's Blues give up Binnington and have franchise for McDavid. I'm not for half the franchise, but here's what I would do. If I had a goalie like Binnington, or, just a starter that was decent, but not unbelievably great, I would go to Edmonton and try to get a lot of pieces to trade that goalie, because they are desperate and they're going to overpay, because Skinner or Pickard, that is not a thing that they can go into next year with. So I don't think Edmonton's trading with the Blues anytime soon after what we did to them. We may have cost them the cup. But with that being said, if you've got a goalie out there that's a good to average goalie, you can go get a lot more than you should from Edmonton.
What would you want back for Binnington?
Oh,
on the Edmonton roster, like, there's not much. That's the problem. It's like, you're not getting Bouchard, right?
No.
You're not getting Draisaitl. You're not getting, do you really want Corey Perry? Do you really want Evander Kane? Like, Wallman? Like, it's just, there's not.
Hyman, Kane, Bouchard. You're right,
the
though.
Pieces were the ones that the Blues poached. If you were going to trade for someone like that,
now that you said that, you're not wrong. You would almost be better off getting their picks are going to be low too.
That's the problem. Do you like? I'm not sure, and I don't know their pipeline prospect wise, so I can't comment on that. But if they don't have a top end prospect, I don't know how they get this done. And if they go the financial route, who are you giving up to sign a goalie and who's available? Like, this is not an easy problem to solve if you are the Edmonton Oilers, and you've got to find a way to solve it. And by the way, you probably have to ask McDavid to take a team friendly deal to be able to solve it, which brings another whole thing into this. Like, hey, Connor, you willing to sign for less than Draisaitl so we can go get a goalie for you? Like,
the answer's going to be no.
I'm just saying, like, it is not an easy situation for Edmonton to try and navigate.
And here's the other thing. Yes, they got there. Yes, they kind of dominated the Western Conference. They were a lot further away. I know it went 6 and the other one only went 7, but if you watch the games, they were a lot further away from Florida this year than they were last year. There is work to be done. Last year, they damn near did it. This year, Yes, I know it was only 4-2. Florida dominated them. So it's a problem.
6 games. Edmonton led for 30 minutes in the entire series.
Yeah.
Florida led for 250 minutes in the series.
Yep.
That's a problem. That's not that's not close. Like
he's going somewhere. He's going. I really believe it. I do.
I don't know. So trade, or is he going to sign somewhere else?
I think he's signing. Well,
you can't let him walk out the door. But can you trade him? Like
it's got to depend on how they're doing at the deadline. Like if they're not playing very well, they might trade him. But if they're playing well, they got to make another run at it, because you make a run and you win it, then he's coming back, right? So I think I'm going to say he's signing elsewhere. I think a great example in this person is not to the level of Connor McDavid. But what about Matthew Tkachuk? He was up in Calgary. They were decent. He goes to Florida. He went and he chose smartly. He could have went home to St. Louis. That we weren't ready. We're kind of ready now, but we weren't when he was a free agent, or when he was, getting shopped around. He went to Florida. He went to the place that made the most sense, and now he's got 2 cups. You can't
ready?
Tell me guys don't look at that and go, I can do that too.
You ready for Mike's crazy prediction?
Yes.
History will repeat itself.
Okay.
The LA Kings are going to trade for Connor McDavid.
You think so?
They have the pieces. They have the team. They have everything in place. They are missing the star.
Yeah, you're right.
Like when you think logically where he's going to go that has cap space, that could actually sign him, that could trade for him and still be good, the Kings are the team that makes the most sense to me.
I think there's one other team that makes sense.
No, probably not the Ducks.
No, not the Ducks.
No. All right, who?
St. Louis.
No.
He's not coming.
But he's not going to come to St. Louis.
Dude, why would he not? They have everything in place except for the star player.
Yeah, but the star players don't like going to St. Louis. Haven't you learned this yet? We never get the star player.
That's true. They're usually homegrown.
Yeah. Like we never get the big free agent. It's always somewhere else. And if McDavid's like saying, I don't want to live in Edmonton, I love St. Louis. St. Louis is actually a great city. I'm probably thinking he wants to be in Toronto. He wants to be in LA. He wants to be in New York. He wants to be in Miami, right? Like, so I would be surprised if he ends up in St. Louis. Also, like the way he would is if we traded for him. Yeah, like what world is Army going to be able to trade after what he did last summer? Like, what would be hilarious if he gave back Holloway and Broberg for him?
I'm actually
Gretzky was traded to the Blues, did not sign, and Hall was there, and that was a big reason they were best friends or good friends for why Gretzky was willing to go to St. Louis.
Yes, exactly. And it was a nightmare for Gretzky. They treated him. That's a whole other story. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into Mike Keenan and all the things happened there. But yeah, he did play for us for 2 months. It was a glorious 2 months. What was I going to say?
Very bad ending.
I had a thought. You're probably right. Listen, from a Blues standpoint, I don't really want to trade a lot of our young guys to get him anyway. I think we're on the course. Just stay the course.
Oh, man, you're crazy. Well, give me Connor McDavid in a Blues jersey. What are you talking about?
Look, what I'm saying is realistically, you're going to have to trade like Snuggerud, Bolduc. Like they're going to want guys that are elite prospects. I don't know. Maybe if you trade one, but I wouldn't want to trade like 4 of our prospects for him. I wouldn't.
I don't think you'd get. I don't think you'd get 4 prospects for him.
Really?
I think it'd be Binnington. 100% would be in the deal.
Yeah.
They need a goalie, right? So Binnington's in the deal.
Yep.
And then probably Snuggerud and Kyrou. That would be my guess.
Well, they can have Kyrou right now. I'll drive Kyrou up there.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not giving up Thomas. You're probably giving up Snuggerud, and you're probably giving up one NHL ready player.
Okay.
Maybe you're throwing in Parinko. Maybe you're throwing in another D-man that we have that's not great but good, right? But and then picks, probably 2 picks.
Okay, maybe I'd do it.
Do it. We'd do it so fast. You would do it so fast, and you would have 3 Connor McDavid jerseys in the next week. Like you'd be like, I'll take a home, I'll take a road, I'll take an alternate, I'll take a stadium series, like every single one.
Well, we go to the Winter Classic that year. I'll take one of those.
Yeah, every single one.
Oh man! All right, we're good. Okay, I guess we'll get out of here now. Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. Oh, I want to echo your thought on the Panthers saying thank you. Yes, thank you as well. They've almost like made my career as a hockey analyst on VSiN because they're like, you were on the Panthers. It's like, yeah, I know. They're just kind of like
really good.
They're just my team. Like
they probably should have won 3 straight. Like injuries cost them the one 2 years ago.
Yeah, injuries, and that was just a damn good team that they got beat to. That Vegas team was an elite team.
Yeah, that was a very good Vegas team.
Yeah. But yeah, it was it's been a good run of 3 years there with Florida. So okay, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, we're gonna get out of here. I wish we would talk hockey more often. Well, we do every show, I guess.
It's when it's relevant. Probably not as much during the summer until we get more of this drama filled out.
Yep, we need more McDavid updates. We'll have them every week here on the Magic Mike Show, as long as I'm here, which this could be the last one. So, all right, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Hey, blinkers off. It's coming up. 18 minutes plus 8. That's 26 minutes away. So everybody tune in for that as well. All right, guys, we'll see you here in a bit.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.